Okay, in this section of the video we're going to cover our stances. The first stance we're going to talk about is our neutral stance. A neutral stance is just what it says, neutral. Your feet are slightly apart, your hands are at your side, and you're in a ready position to defend yourself. This stance is mainly used for starting a technique. Before the technique begins, you will get into your neutral stance, unless for some reason the technique calls you for to be in something else. And it's just where your feet are slightly apart and the hands are together. Okay, once again, this is a neutral stance. Nothing's really done from this stance other than it's a starting point. So this is what you would start a technique from, is a neutral stance or a ready stance. Okay, the next stance we're going to look at is a horse stance. There again, it's really not a stance that we use in a technique as much as we use it for a training position. So that from a neutral stance or a ready position, you take your right foot and you step out slightly beyond shoulder width. Doesn't have to be the right, it could be the left depending on which side you're dominant. But mainly just step out left or right so that your feet are slightly farther apart than your shoulders. Just a little bit, not much. The knees are slightly bent so it looks like you're riding the horse, which is where the name comes from. And hands are in chamber. This is the stance we use for our blocks, our punches. Like I said, this is what a training stance is mainly used as of. We don't really use it in techniques very much as we use it in group classes for practicing our blocks, kicks, and even punches. So once again, from a neutral stance or a ready stance, you step out with your hands in chamber, shoulders square, upright, shoulders over hips, toes pointed straight ahead, and your feet are a little bit beyond shoulder width apart with hands in chamber. And this is a front horse stance. The next one we're going to look at is the side horse stance. It's basically the same as a horse stance, but in relation to your opponent, you're sideways. So if my opponent's in front of me at 12 o'clock, I'm sideways to him. Hands are in chamber. There again, it's really not used a lot in our system. And when it is used, it's used for like tackle techniques, things when you really want to get your stability and have a solid foundation. But just like a horse stance, you're going to step out slightly so that your feet are shoulder width apart. Your hands are in chamber for training purposes, and the toes are pointed straight ahead, so nose and feet are pointed in the same direction. Okay, the next stance we're going to look at is the fighting stance. This is similar to a side horse stance, except that our feet are lined differently. Now in a side horse stance, remember, our feet are on the same line. Now the problem with a side horse stance is we don't have equal reach with both hands, and we don't have the mobility and the speed that we're looking for. About taking your back foot, in this case my left foot, forward about 6 inches so that my heel and toe are on the same line as you see here, I'm in a fighting stance. This allows me reach with both hands, equal reach with both hands and feet. This gets rid of a lot of telegraphing motion. Also gives me the mobility and the speed that I'm looking for. So to get into a fighting stance, we want to step straight back, in this case with our left foot. Hands come up into a check position and we turn and pivot. As you see, that puts us on a heel-toe relationship. Again, from a neutral stance. Hands up, slide straight back, turn and pivot. Knees slightly bent. Now, if we're defending, our toes are pointed to about the 9 o'clock position. Now, when we go to open up, in an attack position or an open fighting stance, our toes will be pointed straight ahead. So we have a closed for defending and an open for an attack. Okay, again, from neutral stance, hands up, slide straight back, turn and pivot, and you should be on a heel to toe relationship. Again, from this angle. Up, slide straight back, and pivot. Okay? Let's take it from this view. Hands come up, we slide straight back, and we turn and close everything down. Again, hands up, slide straight back, turn and close. Okay, from this angle. And remember, we want to slide the foot back. We don't want to pick it up, because as you see, you'll put your back into a side stance. So from here, we want to feel the ground. So if there's anything there, or any ruts or holes, we'll know about it before we step into them. Okay, hands up, slide straight back and down. The other reason we want to keep our foot as close to the ground as we do Can't as if someone attacks while we're doing it. We don't want our foot in the air, otherwise we're going to be off balance and taken down. But if our foot is sliding and they push, we can just plant it back down where we need to. Okay, again, hands up, slide straight back, turn and close. Now where your hands are is going to be kind of a comfort zone, but your forward hand should be protecting the ribs, and your back hand in the face, and your back hand protects the center line for the stomach and groin. It's like so. But you can have them out, you can have them in close, whatever is the comfortable, as long as you got the whole center line covered when you do this. Okay, last time. Up and back. Your weight should be 50-50. Once you're in your fighting stance, you should be able to move any way you want and stay there. Now the best way to learn the width of your fighting stance is to go turn sideways and then just step out slightly until your toe naturally drops. That's the width. It should just be just a hair over shoulder width, maybe a little closer. Now as you improve on your stances, you might find you close it down a little bit more, get what we call a modified fighting stance. In other words, you're still in your fighting stance, but your feet are a little bit closer together, but as soon as you pivot, you're back to where you want to be. Okay, again, last time, back and down. And that's how you do a fighting stance. Our next stance is a cat stance. Now a cat stance, there again, starts from a neutral stance. Now this is designed for if you don't have enough room to step back into a complete fighting stance. In other words, you're up against a wall, this could be a car, this could be somebody else, and you don't have the room or you don't want to step back into somebody. So what you do is you step slightly back, draw your forward leg, in this case my right, into a cat, which means you're up on the ball of your foot and your hands are up. This is a transitory stance. So we're not going to stay here. Unlike a fighting stance where we'll stay and fight our fight, this we're going to come in and get out of as quick as we can. So again, hands are up, we step slightly back and draw to cat. Again, step back left, draw to right cat. Now if we're going to do this, practice both sides, so we want to step back right and draw to left. Make sure all the stances you practice, both your left and your right. Okay, from this position, step back, draw to cat. You should have 90% of your weight on your back leg and about 10% on your front and up on the ball of the foot with hands up. Usually as soon as we do this, we throw a front snap kick. It's pretty much the guarantee of the following move. Again, and draw. One more time, step back and draw. Okay, from this position, there again our hands go up, we step slightly back and draw. Now depending on how far you step back, depends on how much room you have to deal with and how much room you're trying to get between you and your opponent. Okay, last time we step straight back. The toe when we step back is to the 9 o'clock position. Our right foot is pointed directly at our opponent or the target that we're going to kick. Okay, one more time, step back and draw to cat. And that's how you do a cat stance. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is a hard bow stance. Hard bow is used for linear strikes. In other words, if I'm striking straight ahead, in other words, there's no curve to it, it's a straight linear strike, like a reverse punch. I use a hard bow. This way I'm throwing all of my body weight into that punch or into that strike, whatever it may be, and not just the strength of the arm. I'm going to use the strength of my whole body. So as I come in and I'm going to hit. Also, this is very stable. I'm not going to bounce off. If I got my back foot up and I hit, I'm not stable. If it really comes at me, I'm going to lose my footing. I want that back foot locked out. Okay, the toe is pointed straight ahead, just like that, where my nose is going. So is this toe. Okay, your foot is flat on the ground. If you can't put your foot flat on the ground, then bring it forward just a bit. The knee should be bent. Now when you go from your fighting to your hard bow, you shouldn't be moving your weight up and down. You should be in a position that you can shift without shifting your weight up or down. If your weight's going up or down, bring your feet in a little more or bring them out. Okay, again for the hard bow, we'll start from a fighting stance. Just pivot and lock that leg out. Okay, again, just pivot and lock the leg out. And again, one more time. Pivot Lock the leg out, make sure your back heel is on the ground, toes and knees are pointed straight in the direction of your target, and your forward knee is bent. Okay, from this angle, we're in our fighting stance. We're going to throw our punch, and we're lined up directly in line with our target. So if I was to throw a punch, it would look just like that. Okay? So everything works together. The punch and the hips move as one. And from a different angle, we're in our fighting stance, hard bow. Turn everything around, lock the back leg out, bend the forward knee. Okay, again, leg out, forward knee, everything pointed straight ahead. And last time. Everything's pointed. Hips, knees, toes, everything is pointed into the direction that I'm throwing the strike. In other words, you shouldn't have your hips here, your toes there, and the punch coming there. Everything points into that direction because you want all that power going into that strike. Okay, again, hard bow. So, for a soft bow, the way you get into it, you're in your fighting stance or even the side horse stance. We'll start with our right. You just pivot and drop. You're up on the ball of your foot, knees bent, everything's pointed. Usually we use these for rollover hammer fist or for elbow strikes, or if we're going to use a drop of body weight. Okay, again, just pivot and drop. Okay, from this position, pivot and drop. And as we learn the techniques throughout the system, you'll see how this and the strikes work together. So from here, pivot and drop, just like that. Practice both sides. Pivot and drop. Pivot and drop. It's also a good leg strengthening exercise. Okay? From this position, we pivot and drop. So if this leg is bent, we're going to hammer fist this way, or we're going to strike with an elbow off the forward leg. Okay, again, and drop. Okay, see how the body just rotates that weight around. Okay, one more time. Okay, let's do it from this angle. So we're here, pivot and drop. Okay, again. You have the hips, just turn and drop. Okay, last time. Okay, practice those stances and then go on to the next section of the basics video.